Yo, what's up? It's Brandon Day, the Fit Realtor, back with another video on Chicago real estate investing. Today, we're going to focus on the top 5 zip codes to invest in the Chicago area according to the data. But before we get into each zip code, let's first discuss how I came up with this list. Coming from the wholesaling world, I had to know where all the cash buyers and investors purchased most of their property so I would know the best places to market for property. Remember, they are the ones who purchased my deals, so it was wise to focus on these very areas. The first thing I did was focus on the absentee owner purchases in the last 6 months. Remember, absentee owners are people who purchase properties that don't live at that particular property. Second, I looked at all the cash sales around Chicago, and these 5 zip codes had the most cash sales in the last 6 months. With the combination of these 2 data points, I was able to come up with the highest investor activities for absentee owners and cash sales, which are the best indicators of investor purchases. I already knew that the majority of these would be on the list, having sold properties in 4 of the 5 zip codes in the past, but one of them did surprise me. I was also not shocked that all of them were on the south side or in the south suburbs. Now, let's get into the zip codes and the neighborhoods or cities that are in my zip code list. After we go over the zip codes, I'll break down why investors choose to invest in these areas so heavily. The first zip code with the most investor activity in Chicago is 60628. This zip code has had 330 absentee owner sales in the last 6 months. This area is a far south side Chicago area that includes the neighborhoods Roseland, Pullman, and West Pullman. This area has some of the lowest price points with a higher number of distressed properties in the city. With those 2 factors combined, it makes these neighborhoods an investor's gold mine. The 60628 zip code area has a mix of residential properties, including single-family homes, apartments, and townhomes. Like many urban areas, this zip code faces social and economic challenges. Some parts may have struggled with issues such as unemployment and, of course, crime. Transportation options are available with several bus routes and major roadways serving the area. However, the availability and quality of public transportation can vary within different neighborhoods. Residents have access to local schools, parks, and community services. The availability of these amenities can impact the quality of life in the area greatly. Over time, there will be efforts for economic development and community improvements within this zip code. Such programs include projects aimed at creating jobs, improving housing, and even enhancing public spaces. The next zip code, which I'm very familiar with, is 60617. This area has had 260 absentee owner sales over the last 6 months. This area takes up most of the southeast side of Chicago, with neighborhoods that include Calumet Heights, South Chicago, East Side, parts of South Dearman, and parts of Avalon Park. The 60617 zip code includes diverse residential areas. Housing options range from single-family homes and apartments with a sprinkle of multi-family homes. Some parts of this zip code are close to the industrial areas, and there's a mix of residential and industrial zones. The eastern border of this zip code is along Lake Michigan, providing some residents with access to the lakefront and recreational activities. The area is served by various transportation options, including major roadways and public transportation. However, the availability and efficiency of public transportation can vary within the different neighborhoods. Residents have access to local schools, parks, and community services as well. I myself grew up in this zip code and took advantage of all 3. The economic conditions are different in the area as well. Some parts may have faced economic challenges, while others may have seen efforts for revitalization and community development. The area has cultural and commercial spaces, including local businesses, parks, and community centers, contributing to the overall character of the neighborhoods. The third zip code is 60619. This one had 238 absentee owner sales over the last 6 months. This area includes neighborhoods such as Chatham, Burnside, Greater Grand Crossing, and parts of Avalon Park. The 60619 zip code covers a mix of residential areas, including single-family homes, apartment buildings, and townhouses. Residents have access to local schools, parks, and community services. The quality of these amenities can contribute to the overall livability of the neighborhoods. The area is served by various transportation options, including major roads and public transportation. Access to transportation is a crucial factor in the convenience of daily commuting. This zip code includes commercial districts with local businesses, shops, and services that cater to the needs of its residents. Community organizations and engagement play a crucial part in the area's social fabric, contributing to events, local initiatives, and neighborhood cohesion. The economic conditions vary in this zip code as well as most of them. Some areas have faced economic difficulties, while others may see ongoing efforts of community development. There are cultural and recreational spaces, including parks, community centers, and possibly cultural institutions, enhancing the overall quality of the life for the residents. The fourth zip code is 60620. This area has had 223 absentee owner sales over the last 6 months. The zip code includes the neighborhoods Gresham, Brainerd, and parts of Washington Heights. This area has a healthy mix of 1 to 4 units, along with townhomes and apartment buildings. There are a number of parks, schools, and community service institutions. There are several major roads and expressways, which makes getting to different parts of the city relatively easy. Just like all the previous zip codes, there are more economically stable areas than others within the area. There is a well-known fact in Chicago that all the locals understand. Areas can drastically change from block to block, especially on the south side. So make sure you are working with a real estate professional who understands these dynamics. I have personally wholesaled most of my properties in this zip code and know these neighborhoods very well. The last zip code we will discuss is 60411. There have been 232 absentee owner sales over the last 6 months in this one. This one is the most surprising one to me because when I think of the south suburbs, this one is not top of the mind. But as we all know, the numbers do not lie. The zip code includes the areas and cities of Chicago Heights, Sauk Village, Ford Heights, Linwood, and parts of Steger, Illinois. There is a mix of residential, commercial, and industrial buildings located in these areas. As a matter of fact, there's a Ford stamping plant in Chicago Heights that has been open for decades. There's a public transportation and access to highways, but owning private transportation is way more important than it would be in Chicago. You will find that a lot in the south suburbs. So we know what zip codes a lot of investors like to invest in the Chicago area, but why are they choosing these areas is the most important part. There are 7 reasons that real estate investors choose these areas, and after doing research on these zip codes, it all makes perfect sense. Number 1 is affordability. Properties in poorer areas are often more affordable for investors, providing an entry point into the real estate market without requiring a significant upfront capital investment. Number 2 is potential for appreciation. Experienced investors identify areas undergoing redevelopment or gentrification where improvements in infrastructure, amenities, or community services could lead to an increase in property values over time. Number 3 is cash flow opportunities. Rental properties in poorer areas usually offer higher rental yields compared to more affluent neighborhoods. While property values may not skyrocket, consistent rental income can contribute to a positive cash flow. This is most likely because of the high rents and relatively low taxes in these areas. Number 4 is government incentives. The local and federal government implements programs to incentivize investment in economically distressed areas. These incentives can include tax breaks, subsidies, or grants aimed at promoting economic development and revitalization. Number 5 is portfolio diversification. Investors often seek to diversify their portfolios to spread their risk around, including properties in a variety of neighborhoods. It could be from low income to high income. It can all help balance out the potential impacts of market changes. Number 6 is social impact. Some investors may have a dual goal of generating a financial return on investment while also contributing to the betterment of the communities. I personally work with several minority investors that come from these neighborhoods, and they would love to improve the areas they grew up in. Investing in poorer areas can support local economic development and improve living conditions. The last reason is availability of the distressed properties. Economically distressed areas usually have a higher number of distressed properties, such as foreclosures or properties in need of renovation. Investors can acquire these properties at a lower cost, add value through improvements, and then potentially sell or rent them for a nice profit. In the end, it's important for investors to conduct thorough due diligence before investing in any area, considering factors such as crime rates, local employment opportunities, school quality, and infrastructure development. Additionally, understanding the potential for future growth and monitoring the socioeconomic dynamics of the community is crucial for making informed investment decisions. Successful real estate investment requires a combination of financial experience, market knowledge, and a unique understanding of the social and economic context of the chosen investment locations. It's important to recognize that investing in less affluent areas comes with its own set of challenges and risks, including potential issues related to property management, tenant quality, and economic volatility. Additionally, there's a moral and ethical dimension to consider when investing in communities facing economic challenges. Investors should approach such opportunities with careful research and consideration of the potential impact on the local community. Basically, to simplify it, do not take advantage of people just because they have less real estate knowledge than you or maybe in a desperate situation. All real estate transactions should be a win-win situation whenever possible. I hope you guys learned something about real estate investing in my beautiful city, and especially the South Side where I grew up and still live. If you are interested in investing in Chicago, my contact info is in the description. Just reach out and I'll get you on the right path to financial freedom. Also, if you would like me to do further videos explaining anything in more detail, leave a comment and I'll make sure to get you that info ASAP. I will be dropping new videos at least once a week, usually on the weekend, so don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification button so you'll know when I upload. Until then, y'all have a good one. Peace.